Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Then this should be fun.
This is 911. State your emergency. Hello? I can't help you if I don't know where you're at, honey. Where are you at? Where are you? I need as many units as I can get for Fairfield Road. Give me the numbers.
911, what's your emergency?
Hey friends, it's Fletch. I'm Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Welcome to this new podcast series, Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. Brought to you by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 services for the enterprise today and making every second count. In this series, we're going to be talking to ENPs that have been on the job for years, as well as those brand new ENPs that have just passed the test. We'll dig in and have an in-depth conversation and find out what the ENP certification means to them. We'll talk about why they did it, what it means for their career, and what they did to pass the exam. Industry certifications are important to industry professionals, and the ENP certification is one that's admired by many in public safety. So join me as we find out exactly what makes an ENP tick in this off-the-cuff podcast series, Confessions of an ENP. Hey, it's Fletch, I'm Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Welcome to yet another episode of Off the Cuff, True Confessions of an ENP. Today we're sitting down with Kelly Kuhns-ENP, brand spanky new. I mean, she just got her official notice literally days ago. Kelly, thanks for being on the podcast and congratulations on your accomplishment of being an emergency number professional.
Hi, thanks so much, Fletch. I appreciate it. It's very exciting.
So you're down in central East Coast region, right? Down in Virginia?
Yes, Smithfield area, but I work for Surrey Communications, so it was just like 10 minutes down the road. Nice.
Now, what kind of agency is that? Is it strictly dispatch or is it law enforcement dispatch or what's the makeup of your agency?
So we are underneath the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And the dispatches for fire, EMS, law enforcement. We do it all.
Okay.
The dispatchers do everything. Call taking, dispatching, multitasking at its finest.
Now, do you break into different units? So someone's on dispatch, someone's on call taking, or is it just a free for all? Whoever gets what when?
It is a free for all. We do it all. Yes.
That's, you know what? There's a lot of method to that madness because it's like everybody's trained, everybody can do everything. You do whatever you got to do to get the job done.
Yeah, exactly.
So how long have you been there?
I started in communications back in 2014. And then right around my 7-year mark, I got promoted to communications manager. And so I'm coming up on my 8th year now.
Wow. So you started when you were 10?
When I was 10.
Well, you've been in it.
How old was I? 24? I was 24, I think, at the time. Yeah, if I remember correctly.
So what were you doing prior to? What brought you into 911 dispatch?
So I've always had a passion for crime and things like that. I was always a crime junkie, always watching like forensic files and court shows, things like that. Always had a passion for it. And so I really wanted to get into forensics. And I was told, hey, if you go into law enforcement, that's going to open a door for you. And then, you can easily transition over into what you're passionate about. And so I did that. I went through the police academy and was on the street for about 6 months. And it was so stressful.
Yeah.
And I just was like, nope, this is not for me. And then I went back to an old position as a retail position. And then I found a local listing for communications officer. And I was like, okay, I can still have my foot in the door with law enforcement and being involved because I always wanted to be involved. And I got offered the position. I took it and I was there for probably about 6 months. And I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing for my career. I love it.
I love talking to true dispatchers. And I know there's a million terms, right? Telecommunicator, emergency services. Okay.
Right.
You know what? I graduated high school in 1980, if you want to do the math. So I'm up there. I've been around for a while. My first job out of high school was being a dispatcher because that's what we were back then. And I was a special officer on the road too. But you know what? Since then, after all of these, 40 years, if you're a dispatcher, emergency communications, telecommunicator, whatever you want to call it, if you're there and it's for you, you know it from the get-go. And, I had the same issue. It just doing a full-time gig, and I was on the list to be on the road full-time. It wasn't going to happen right away, and I wanted to get into technology. So I got into communications, but I immediately went back into communications for public safety. And all of my brief history, really, when you think about, people like yourself, but still that was a lot of value to bring into the communication side, because the people that build the technology don't have a freaking clue how it's used.
Right.
Oh, I need a box that does this. Oh, yeah, let me build that. Well, okay, you broke 3 other things in the process. That's changing now, right? Because I don't know if it's good or it's bad, but I think because of the low wages in public safety, people say, hey, I got a family to feed. I'm going to go out and get another job. But they're drifting back into commercial side with expertise from the field. So you've a lot more ENPs in the corporate world now than there ever were before.
Right, exactly. That's something that I've noticed. I've attended so many different webinars or training sessions and things like that. And there's a ton of people that have ENP, and they're actually vendors that are presenting for that training and things like that. And I'm like, wow, this is easily translatable to like the vendor side or the corporate side. So
I always tell people, I said, look, whether you're in public safety or you're in the public safety business, having your ENP is valuable. It's a validation of your commitment to the industry, because I don't know if anybody told you, getting your ENP isn't easy.
No. I think I went into it and I was like, I got this, I can do it. And I had that mindset the whole time. But as I started to study more, and each study group, there was more and more information. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
But I stuck with it and hammered it down for, I think it was 5 months until I took the exam.
Yep.
And even then, I went in feeling pretty confident, and I sat down and I'm looking at the questions and I'm like, oh, wow, this is intense. So yeah, it's definitely not easy. That's for sure.
Well, the most fun I have every year is being on the NENA Institute board, where each year we go down, we pull the questions for that year's tests. There's 2 tests, 150 questions each. And we go through all the questions to make sure they're still relevant, they're still valid, the answers haven't changed, because technology changes.
Right.
And an answer to a question may be correct one year, and then all of a sudden something has happened that makes that question not entirely correct or wrong. I mean, I've seen things where, well, that's not true anymore. And we gotta look at, if we can't fix the question, we get rid of it, right? It's not a valid question anymore. And so, we end up taking both tests every year, and we get to write the questions, the answers, the distractors that are the answers.
Oh, boy, do I know.
Yeah. But there's always one absolutely correct answer, right? And you've got to read, and that's what it's testing, your comprehension. And I love writing those. And, of course, I'm not allowed to discuss any of them, but all I can say is you should bless yourself that you've got it now, because I know that I put in a couple of doozies this year.
Oh, okay. That must have been the majority of my tests, was Fletch's questions.
I've got a few in there from the past, but there's stuff from the other members of the NENA Institute board where it's almost like a contest. It's like, dang, that's a good question.
Right.
I'm not sure I know the answer to that. Let me look there. So it's a great test, though. It's a true validation of your commitment to the industry. And I think the biggest respect you're going to get are from other ENPs. that have gone through that event in their lives, and
Mhm.
they know what you've gone through. So
Right.
you've got immediate respect. It's really early in you just got it a couple of days ago.
Mhm.
So, probably you haven't seen a lot of that yet.
Not yet. I did have a couple of people reach out to me and congratulate me and things like that. So that was really great. And I was like, this is the start of the networking. Okay. I see, and we're actually going to the NENA conference in Virginia Beach
Okay.
next week. So I'm excited. It's my first conference I've ever been to.
Nice.
I've never been to a conference, and so I'm very excited to kind of go and see what all that offers and see who I can meet, because I'm still new to management. I'm still learning, and I'm trying to like soak it all in. I want to know everything.
So you have to make sure that you do one thing when you introduce yourself to people. Hi, I'm Kelly Kuhns-ENP.
Oh, wow.
Get
That's
used to
going to be
saying that.
different for me.
Yeah, well, get used to saying it and make sure that your badge reflects that. Kelly Kuhns-ENP. You want to be proud and loud.
Got it.
So,
Great advice.
And let me tell you, from starting out in your networking side of the industry, that will immediately gravitate people to you. You are part of the club.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
Saturday Night Live, the Five Timers Club, Christine
Right.
Barton. Yeah, we don't have velvet robes, but the ENP Club is a pretty cool place. I should propose that. We'll get the velvet robes that say ENP on them.
I think that's a great idea. I'll back you up 100%.
Yeah, maybe that'll be in your gift box. You haven't gotten your gift box yet because you're so new.
Right.
One is coming, right?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
So I'm not going to, I've been sworn to secrecy, but I can't tell you what's in there. But you are going to get your certificate probably in 3 to 4 weeks, and there will be a box of, let's just say, stuff that's in there. When you open the box, I'll warn you ahead of time, stand back, don't lean over.
Okay. Got it.
It doesn't hurt that much, but
Yeah. Okay.
it's part of the initiation.
Hey, it's all for the cause, right?
There are no explosives, real explosives.
I trust you.
It does have to go through the mail and stuff. So, right there, it's federally compliant from that respect. But just stand back.
Okay.
You might want to wear eye protection.
Got it.
Okay, that's all I can say. I've said too much. If I tell you, I'd have to eliminate you. So.
Oh no, we don't want that.
Do you know I made that old joke? Well, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Right.
I actually put that in a Facebook post one day, and they said, "Oh, what's the big secret announcement next week?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, I know, and I'm fully vetted and all that, and I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you." Do you know Facebook banned me for a week for hate speech?
No way, not Facebook jail.
Yeah, I was in Facebook jail for a week for hate speech. I'm like, it's an expression, and I'm like, well, okay, you know what? Times have changed.
I know. Yes, they have. We live in a different era now.
So I can't. I've said the H word now, so I can't provide a transcription on this, or I'll be in Facebook jail again. As a second offender. God knows what happens.
Right, officially banned.
Yeah, if you get put in Twitter jail, Elon Musk shows up at your house in a Tesla.
Hey, maybe that's a good thing.
Maybe that's a good thing. Who knows? I just saw this morning he might be putting that on hold. So.
Oh, okay. I've been trying to follow that, but yeah.
Challenges of the richest man in the world. Things that I will never know.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your ENP journey.
Okay.
You decide to become an ENP. You go out and you say, I got to get involved in a study group.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you find your study group? What was that journey like?
So honestly, I'm going to start from day one. I had never knew what NENA was. I had only known APCO. And we had a supervisor who, started telling me about NENA, and he and I had gotten pretty close. And I was telling him, I want more out of this profession. I want to do more. And he started telling me about the ENP. And so our agency at the time didn't offer us a membership for NENA. And so I went and purchased one for myself.
Good for you.
Yeah. And so I started looking into it, and I saw the point system and things like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm missing a couple points. Let me try to work on this. And so that's what I did. And when it came time where I had the points, I had gotten sent the scholarship email.
Oh, wow.
And I said, okay, this is it. I have enough points. I'm going to apply for the scholarship. And I honestly did not expect to get the scholarship. I sat down and I poured my heart and soul into that application. But I knew that I was going to be up against some pretty amazing people in the industry. So I was like, I don't know if this is going to happen or not. And then I got the email saying that, congratulations, you got the scholarship. And I'm like, all right, now we're 100% serious. We're going forward with this. We're doing it. And in my mind, I had no clue what to expect for the ENP. I was thinking, okay, yeah, it's a big exam, but I didn't know what to expect. So I hadn't originally thought about joining a study group. I ordered the study guide, and I was like, that's it. That's all I'm going to need.
That's pretty funny. It almost sounded like you said that was all you were going to need.
That's exactly what I said. And I learned quickly that was not true. And so I reached out to my old supervisor, who is an ENP, and I asked him, I was like, what can I expect from this? And he said, join a study group. And so what I did was I went on NENA's website and looked through the study groups. And I think I signed up for 2. I think I signed up for Mission Critical Partners, and then I signed up for Tracy's.
Okay.
Because I had heard a lot of people saying good things about Tracy.
Oh, people say a lot of stuff about Tracy's. Not much of it's good, but they do say a lot of stuff about Tracy. And by the way, she's my best friend, and I almost treat her as a sister. So I have to take the opportunity to nail her on every podcast that I possibly can.
Right. Yeah. No, Tracy is amazing. I think that her and to realize that she hadn't been doing it for that long, her study group.
No.
And she's so knowledgeable, and the way that she explains things to people to kind of simplify it was so helpful.
Yep.
But in order to prep for that, I did do Tracy's study group, was the only one that I had done. And I was also reading the study guide. I created flashcards for myself. And then I was listening to her recordings. I was listening to them in the car while I drive, doing things around the house, and just doing everything that I could to cram that information into my brain. Because when I found out that there were 2 separate tests, that kind of like rocked my world. I was like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I'm going to study all of this and I have to make sure I know everything because, there's one test and then there's another one. And I was like, oh no.
And they're both balanced as far as the topics are concerned. Just different questions, right?
Right.
The question bank on the back end of that, there's thousands and thousands of questions that are in there. And that's all computer controlled. We actually pay a company to manage that and manage the security around all of that, and which questions do well and which questions don't. And that every year we sit down and we pull a valid new test. And those questions get refreshed, renewed, and revalidated every single year. So you can't even talk to somebody that took the test last year and they have different questions than you. And chances are only half the people that took it the same year as you have the same questions that you got.
Right. And see, the thing is, there were so many questions, Fletch. If somebody came to me and said, was there a question that you can recall? No, there isn't. It's all a blur now. It's all a blur.
That's okay. So what did you learn the most during your study? What was your weakest to best experience out of the different topics of knowledge?
I think my weakest would probably be the call flow for the next gen 911, because I didn't realize how involved it was and how technologically advanced it is. It's crazy.
Yeah. Now you knew the old call flow well, right?
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that seemed pretty basic. And then we started doing Next Gen 911, and that was one of the ones that I focused heavily on because there was so much information, so many acronyms to know.
Yeah.
And Tracy always said, know your acronyms. If you don't know anything else, know your acronyms and know what they mean.
Yep. And you know what, the acronyms, in most cases, if you know the acronym, you know what the box does.
Mm-hmm.
Location validation function. Gee, I wonder what that does. Maybe validates locations.
Right. Yeah.
Emergency services routing proxy. Golly, I wonder what that does. Maybe routes emergency services.
Yeah. And then I would probably say my strongest was actually, if you look at my scores, it looks like legislation and management was actually my strongest suit. But while I was studying, I felt most prepared for the technology part in the PSAP. Okay. And surprisingly, that is the part that I actually struggled with on the exam.
Wow. That's interesting. A lot of it depends on the person. It depends on your upbringing in the industry. A lot of people struggle with legislation. I think I'm going to say anecdotally that most people do the worst on the legislation side because it's dates and, things that, I don't know, may seem non-important to the 911 call taking mission, but it's an emergency number professional certification. It's all encompassing. You need to be fluent in everything, right? Or at least if you don't know it, you know where to go to reference to get the information, right? Right. So you don't have to know everything off the top of your head. You can never know that. There are some people that can, and they're incredibly boring people to talk to. Well, technically, that's right.
Yeah. It was actually pretty neat though, because before studying for the EMP, I knew basic things, but it really helped me expand on my general knowledge of everything. And I was like, wow, I had no idea how complex everything in communications was. And the cool thing about studying is I actually got to put some of that stuff to use because we had some issues with our phone system while I was studying. Right after I had finished studying, the legacy PSAP gateways and all of that stuff, we had phone issues, and I was talking to the phone provider and they were talking about resetting gateways and this and that. And I'm like, I know what you're talking about now.
And you know what? When the vendors are talking to an ENP, it scares them a little bit because now they know they're talking to somebody that, oh, that's okay, Kelly. It's always like that. Well, maybe it's hard to use that.
Right. Yep. They can't get me anymore.
There you go. And I mean, I've had people tell me they were in the middle of an RFP for Next Gen, and where they had been fairly passive up to halfway through the process, they got their ENP and said, okay, let's rip this sucker back open. We're going to look at this. And the vendor was like, whoa, what happened? And they made some significant changes.
Yep. Because we are actually in the process of doing, we already did the RFP and everything like that. And we're getting ready to start negotiations for a new radio communication system. Yep. And we started prior to me receiving studying for my EMP. And I'm looking at all this information. I'm like, I don't know what any of this is. And then we started studying radio stuff and all that terminology. And so then I was able to return to the RFP and read it and actually understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you find anything that was drastically bad there that you needed to change?
No.
Good. No. Well, then somebody did a good job writing the RFP.
Yes. We've got some pretty good contractors on our side. So,
you just have to watch out for on one hand, it's great to have vendor input on the RFPs because they'll tell you the important stuff that they're working on that needs to be in there from a technology perspective. You just got to make sure that nothing that they're putting in there is proprietary in nature, that's there to give them an upper hand.
Right.
You know, not that they're going to do that, but you as a buyer need to watch for that, because they could easily do that. Right. So, you know, there's a level of respectability. And again, ENPs on the vendor side, that's where the value is, right? If you've got an ENP on the vendor side, you know they're not going to hand you a bucket of horse crap, right?
Right.
There's going to be some validation there because they're an ENP, you've got a level of trust that can be extended. I think that's my opinion, personally. Not associated with NENA or 911. No.
Simple disclosure.
Opinions. No, that's fantastic. So what advice do you have for the telecommunicator, the dispatcher, the communications professional that's thinking about, well, I don't know if this is for me. I'm never going to go into management. I don't know if I need this. Should they get their ENP? And what's your advice to them?
I would say yes, 1,000 times yes. Even if you're not looking at moving into management or anything like that, there's so much knowledgeable information in the exam that can just build on you professionally just as a telecommunicator. There's a ton of information related to communications as a call taker and a dispatcher that I didn't even know prior to taking this exam.
So again, a benefit of this, and again, kudos to Tracy and everyone else that does, you know, the mission critical folks, and there are others that do the ENP exams. The group down in Florida does it as well. They do the study groups. Those cost nothing. They're free.
Right.
And even if you've got no intention of being an ENP or taking the ENP exam, boy, that's just free training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually...
I'm sorry, go ahead. You can take it a couple different times. Take all of them. Get different.
Exactly.
There's 3 different slants.
I have, because I wanted to share my journey with my staff, because I am a huge advocate for training. Things are ever changing in our profession. And so the biggest thing for me is for them to stay up on training. And so I shared my experience with them, and I discussed certain topics with them while I was studying. And the cool thing is they were curious about it, and they wanted to know more. And so, you know, a lot of them were like, well, I don't have enough years, or, you know, I'm not ready for that yet. And I'm like, it's okay. I said, there's study groups that you can get into just to get the information and just to learn. I said, you don't have to go and, you know, apply to be an EMP or anything like that. And I said, the information alone is invaluable.
You could go back today and start watching all 3 of the major study groups, you know, past episodes, right? They're all there. They're all online. Right.
And I had actually thought about going back and watching them just to, because I don't want to kind of just leave it to the side now that I've gotten my EMP. I still want to keep that knowledge fresh. And so that's one of the things that I've actually been thinking about, is going back and just, you know, listening to them and going back through my flashcards and things like that, just to make sure that I'm staying current with that information.
You know, I just had an idea. I never really thought about this before. You know, a great opportunity for someone like you is to start not an official ENP study group, but start an ENP awareness group in your center. And once a week, whatever schedule works, just go through and review chapter by chapter, high level. This is what this is about. And it'll give you, it's an internal education series that you could do for your agency. What a great idea. And then if anybody went to do the study group later, oh yeah, Kelly told us about that stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, of course, I'm full of great ideas.
I know you are.
I just don't execute on them very well.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's usually a burning wreck somewhere on the side of the road. Those are my ideas as they, you know, as they progress. But let me ask you, where did you get this? Just came to my mind. Where did you get your scholarship from?
I think it was through NENA. actually.
This is going to sound really strange, but I knew I recognized your name somewhere.
You sent me a congratulations email. I was looking through the emails this morning,
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, that's Mark.
I sent you a congratulations email on your ENP.
Mm-hmm. And I had actually gotten one when I received the scholarship from you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that confirms it then. Because I'm the Northeast representative, and I'm thinking, what? Virginia's in my area. Did she get a NENA? This really sounds familiar. Her name sounds familiar. So there you go. Normally, I just submit the name and go, look, here's a list of 15 or 20 or 10 or whatever applicants. And this year I had a crap ton of applicants for the Northeast. Let me tell you, that took me several days to weed through and read all of them. But yeah, yours stood out and impressed me pretty quickly. Wow.
Well, that's good.
I hope I didn't violate any policy or procedure.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Who knows?
Well, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me seed these people for my podcast later. No. This industry just cracks me up how, the world turns and bumps into itself all the time. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, double congratulations on your ENP scholarship and your ENP certification. That's great.
Thank you. I think I was because I never win anything. I never win anything ever.
Me neither. So that's why I figured, hey, let me give a few things away since I never win.
You must have known this girl doesn't get anything. Let's do this. And so
it was the tear marks on the paper when I read your.
That's probably. I do remember crying heavily I was but no, I felt like there was a little bit of added pressure. Having received the scholarship because I didn't want it to go to waste. Yep. I received this and they chose me. And so I really wanted to obtain that certification more than ever because I didn't want the scholarship to go to waste.
Wow. I can't tell you the feeling that I can't even describe the feeling that I've got right now, knowing that I was the one that picked your name to get the scholarship. You've gone through, you passed your ENP. I take it you're happy with your score. You don't have to tell me what it was, but you were happy with your final score?
I'm a perfectionist. So, mine was like, you got to get 150. And then
nobody gets 150.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better. But that's that was my goal. I was striving for that. But no, I mean, I've talked to people and I'm like, this was my score. And they're like, passing is passing. Take it and run with it. You passed.
Yes.
And so I've come to terms with that. And I'm happy regardless,
Great. I mean, again, passing is passing. I always tell people somewhere out there is the worst dentist and the worst doctor and the worst surgeon. Somebody has to be the lowest and just got by 1 point. Just pray that you don't get that guy.
Yeah, pray that's not your dentist or doctor. That yeah.
That's all. You still got the certificate on the wall, and passing is passing. They have met the standard, and that's what's important. So
yeah.
So, okay, good. Well, you know what? This is a really special gift for me. Thank you very much. I didn't expect this.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. Wow. That's fantastic.
Twilight Zone here.
So that is so cool. All right. Well, any parting words of wisdom for future ENP candidates?
Take the initiative. If you want it, go get it. You can do anything. It's all possible. And just continue to grow and continue to learn. Anything is possible.
No, that's fine. That's beautiful. Kelly, it has been an absolute double, triple treat talking to you today. This is fantastic. I don't normally get a special gift during the podcasts. You've given me a little special gift today. So thank you very much. Congratulations on your new title of ENP. Please use it everywhere. Be proud of it. You're a member of a very, very elite, small community of people. I think there's only 1,600 or so active ENPs out there. So, that's a pretty small group out of 100,000 call takers in this industry.
Yeah, the numbers. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's still surreal, honestly.
Yep, it will be for a little bit, but wait till you get your first person that says, "Oh, you're an ENP. Come on over. I want to talk to you. I need to get your opinion on something."
Right.
And that'll happen more and more and more and more, and you'll just be amazed, and it'll make all of that hard work and all that study that you put into this like 5 times worth the effort that you did put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And keep up that passion and keep up that goal for excellence, not only for yourself, but the other people that you meet. As a manager, that's part of your responsibility. As a manager ENP now, that's part of your responsibility. Go forward and recruit.
No pressure.
Bring people into the fold.
I'm excited.
No, I'm excited for you, Kelly. That's fantastic. Thanks so much. Once again, congratulations. And your dog was so well behaved.
I know.
I heard him scamper one time, and that was it.
Yeah, the birds outside, they love it.
Yeah. I got a cat. I got a Bengal cat, and they love birds. And he's got a big old tree stand, and he's almost 2 years old. He hasn't figured out he does not have super cat powers to fly through the glass. And
yes.
He wanders around all drunk and stupid, going, "Gee, that hurt."
But it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as stupid as his father. So, all right. Well, thanks very much. And again, congratulations. I appreciate you spending the time.
Thank you so much, Mark. It was great to meet you. It was great talking to you. I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
No problem. Well, that wraps up this episode of Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. I'm Mark Fletcher, ENP, and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Off the Cuff is sponsored by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 solutions to the enterprise today and making every second count. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Fletch911. Check out all my blogs and podcasts at Fletch.tv. And be sure to like and subscribe below. That way you'll be immediately notified whenever a new podcast is published. Thanks so much for listening. If you're in public safety, thanks for what you do. Take care and have a great day.